Okay, everyone, well, this is just a quick little thing. There's been a bunch of stuff around here, but I'll explain that in a bit. Sort of just like a first little step to episode 7, which is that there's that stack of iron over there. That weird looking stack of iron. And I've got my wand of interior design, and I've also got a ton of iron. Like, well, not a literal ton, but 55 blocks. So, I'm going to craft this thing down here. Just push C. It creates a craft packet of obsidian, TNT, block of diamond, TNT, obsidian. And that will make, if we put it into this craft packet stamper, diamond shards, 18 diamond shards. And these are used specifically to make a wrath igniter. And if I'm particularly lucky, this will not burn the world, as it is slightly prone to. Because the wrath igniter places wrath, and oh look, there's a hive there. I should have seen that ages ago. Places wrath, which is basically super fire. It will cook cobblestone into stone and vice versa. It will murder grass. It will completely crystallize sand, and all manner of other things. So, but its most useful, at least for our purposes, property is that it turns blocks of iron into blocks of dark iron, which are required for making a bunch of the factorization router stuff, as well as wrath lamps, which are the big bright things you've seen over in Dave's house. So what I'm doing here is I've got my stack of blocks of iron ready to be smelted with the rat fire in the middle of water, where hopefully it won't spread. Nonetheless, I'm just going to get rid of this block, because I don't want to take any chances here, because if this spreads, and it can spread quite a bit, very bad things will happen to a large portion of the world, because we're right next to this forest. But that's why we're in the middle of the river for the moment. And I've tested this in single player. I haven't tested this in multiplayer for obvious reasons. But let's give it a go, shall we? Oh, actually, let me just get a little bit higher so I can touch the top of this. Yeah. And can I? No, it doesn't look like I can. Oh well. Tally out. Okay, so that's the wrath there. It has a very different particle effect, and it's spreading all over. I don't see it passing the water just yet. And oop, that is getting pretty covered in particles. In fact, I can barely see it, but we should see them going dark. Yep, I think we can. And once that's done, we need to right-click with our wand of interior design to start trying to replace the dark iron with our iron, which we have done. We now have 55 blocks of dark iron, and there's a bunch more still smelting here. Whew. So, we haven't, it would seem, murdered anything. All is well, and once this is finally done cooking, I can collect it up quite happily. So, that is just a quick intro to how I've been smelting dark iron without murdering anyone, and that's how I've managed to get the router, which you'll see over there in the next couple of moments. So, that's all for now. Return to the episode. Hello everyone, welcome back to Bedmon Incorporated on the Chaosville server. Well, few things have changed around here. First, I've got this nice little setup here. A fairly simple thing, it just uses all of the gold nuggets that I get from my zombie pigman spawner and automatically converts them into the ingots that we can actually use more often. This cute little guy was unlocked in my Foundcraft research, and he is a smart wooden golem. And his main job is just to pick up the gold nuggets. There's another one over here who picks up all of our vast supply of rotten flesh. And he actually just sticks it into this router rather than the actual Yes, Stampy, yes. He just sticks it into the router, which then puts it into the barrel instead of just going to the barrel, because the barrel itself has some weird input-output kind of issues. But the router is what we were mostly building our stockpile of dark iron for, because the way that factorization works in this regard is that all of these barrels effectively serve as one giant storage according to the router. As long as the router is touching one of them, it can touch all of them, effectively. As long as they're like one big continuous thing, which is why I've shifted a few of them around to be touching one another. So I can just come over here, stick a bunch of stuff into the relay, and it will then happily go through the router, which has been upgraded with a bandwidth upgrade, which allows it to move entire stacks, which makes it a lot faster. And everything goes where it should. So that is pretty dang handy. And there's another one over here in the farm for dealing with, well, there's another two over in the farm for dealing with eggs, seeds, wheat, and neverwort. And there's golems operating that too as well. But our main thing today is we're going to start looking into minecarts. We're going to start looking not into railcraft today, we're going to start looking for a more utility kind of minecart, which means we're going to investigate Steve's cars, which is something I don't have nearly as much experience with, which is probably saying a bit considering I had to teach myself railcraft practically from the ground up. But hop over into my eyes and we shall go and work on things together today. So, more or less the way that Steve's carts work is that we have this main box over here, which we can add different kind of modules onto, but we're not using any at the moment. And this is the cart assembler. I'll show you the recipe for that one. There'll be a lot of here, yep. There it is, and next to it is all of the upgrades we can give it. But it requires a simple PCB, some stone, some iron, and the PCBs fairly straightforward, just gold, redstone, and iron. There's also an upgrade for that. And the first thing that we are going to need is a hull, which is effectively a minecart basis. So there's the standard hull, there's the wooden hull if you're particularly cheap, there's the reinforced hull, which is what we're going to be making, and there is the mechanical pig. I don't exactly know why this was here, but apparently it's part of the Minecraft Marathon, but it's not as good as most of the other hulls, for obvious reason. In fact, I think, no, it's better than the wooden hull, but it's pretty much worse in almost every regard to the standard hull. But the reinforced is what we want, and the reinforced requires a lot of reinforced metal. So to make that, we need stabilized metal. To make that, we need hardened mesh, iron, and refined hardness. The hardened mesh is made from the refined iron plus the hardness. The hardness plus the iron bars, sorry. And the hardener is made from obsidian and diamonds. And we're going to need quite a bit of it, so let's spend some time indoors where things aren't going to kill me, and pick up some obsidian from our nice handy storage wall. My frames are still kind of bad, yeah, and oh, you'll have noticed that this has changed. This is now a void capsule holding crushed ice. Void capsule I unlocked in Foundcraft, and the crushed ice you get from bees, which I've just been messing around with intermittently. And we have that because we recently upgraded the server, updated the server to a new version, which unfortunately took out a bunch of things. Among them, basically every single piece of bibliocraft that we had, so I had to replace all of my armor stands and everything. Rather unfortunate, but oh well. I might need more hardener than that, so let's get... Did I have more? Oh, of course I did. It's over here. And there's what's presently remaining of our blocks of dark iron. There's only 4 dark iron ingots in each of those, but we got so many so quickly. And some fire dropped from one of the nether rats. So, evidently those guys haven't changed much at all. Now, I recently figured out that I can just do that, and I get a ton of diamonds. So handy, handy, handy. And let's convert them all back into actual diamonds that we can use. Stick them in there. And that gives us 8 hardener. Now, I think we're probably still going to need a lot more than that as well. Because as you saw, the stabilized parts require quite a bit. But I think that's basically just enough for 2 pieces of stabilized metal. Find hardened mesh requires 2, so that's enough to make 2 hardened mesh. So you can gather that this is one of the more expensive options as far as hulls go, but there is a reason for that, and there is benefits to it either way. Lovely morning. Right. So we need to either go and retrieve some more obsidian, or I can make some. And since I have a lot of wood from clearing out the piece of forest that I didn't end up using, we'll go with using the wood rather than going and fetching it. And my minium stone's really wearing down quickly. Yeah, I suppose I am using it for stacks of items at a time, that would make sense. Okay, so, ton more hardened metal. Well, hardener. So, in that goes, and out comes 40. That should be a lot better for what we need it to do. Oop. And how much stabilized do we get from each of these? 5 pieces. Well, that's good at least. Okay, so that gives us our raw hardener, and 40 is conveniently the number of smelt that you get from a single piece of coal coke, which I get from putting regular coal inside of a coke oven, which I set up a while ago for better fuel efficiency. Although since we've removed Greg Tech now, I don't actually have access to the semi-fluid generator I was planning on getting power from by pumping the creosote oil into it. Which is a bit of a pity, but oh well. Okay, and doop. Is that how it goes? Or is it another way? I think it's the other way. Yes it is, it's 5 pieces. So it's exactly the same mistake that many people still make with, still manage to make with TNT. Fascinating, Captain, fascinating. Okay, and that gets us 1 hardened mesh. But let's make some more iron bars. 32 should about do it. I'm being cavalier with my resources because I kind of want to get this done today. I ordinarily do not try and spend this much in an episode, but who knows. And there are movements that we may start on a... yeah, that's the rest of my void capsules. Which is basically just a big storage. It's like my cans, but it just takes in like 4 or 5 times more material than normal. And they look pretty damn cool. In fact, bonus advantage, they look cool, and I'm pretty sure you could make them out of just like a big pixel art rather easily. So that's good. Okay, so that gets us, so far, 1 piece. We could get another one out there, but we'll dismantle the whole recipe. Of hardened mesh. Now we need 2 of those, and some more hardeners, namely this number of hardeners, and a bunch of iron to make our first pieces of stabilized metal. So we'll just keep on going with this. Right, there's that. And I need some more iron, which I guess I shall make from this gold, which will give me 8 iron. Fortunately, most of the Steve's Cart stuff don't rely on they don't rely on materials that you have to dig out of the ground, they rely on materials that you have to make yourself, which is good news for us, because I only have an access, and effectively unlimited access, to standard stuff. So there is 5 stabilized metal. So that's things like diamonds, gold, iron, clay, and all that. That's the only stuff I have access to effectively unlimitedly. Unlimited. Everything else I have to go and dig out of the ground. And ow. That kind of hurt. Ow. Wow. I just bashed my finger on the desk. Ow. But yeah. Everything else I have to go digging for. So the zombie pigman spawner helps me get vanilla stuff, but everything else still costly. And I'm trying to get to 10 stabilized before I start cooking it. And let's grab a piece of coal, because the reason I'm waiting on it is that these iron furnaces will cook 10 for every piece of... God dang it, don't add stairs to the list of things I fail at while filling. Yeah, if you're actually, like, tremendously irked by the fact that I have such low frames per second on a regular basis, at this point I would like to point out to you that there is in fact a donation drive, but hey, not a donation drive anymore, but there is a donation button right beneath the description of the video. It's very near the top, just underneath my usual episode description. And that will give you some hand on helping me to get a new computer. I think I've narrowed down one for about £480, about 200 or so of which I could cover myself. So we don't actually need to donate all that much. But if I do that, I'm pretty much not eating for the rest of the term. So not the best of circumstances. And there's some more refined hardener. Now let's see, what do we need to make our refined hull? We need 5 reinforced metal, which is what we get from the hardener, which is half of what we've already put in there. And we need 2 sets of wheels, which is reinforced metal and iron ingots, which we have here. And that gets us our hull. Now you noticed, quite probably, that there is a lot of different slots inside the card assembler. Those are specifically where you put different parts of your minecart. You can customize your minecart to do a whole bunch of things. You can make it solar powered, you can give it its own miniature engine, you can give it a drill so it will plow through whatever is ahead of it. You can make it lay down. You can make it lay down different rails and all sorts. What we are mostly going to be doing is giving it a fairly standard coal engine, a railer so it can put down tracks ahead of itself, a bridge layer so that it will put down blocks ahead of itself so it can keep going, rather than running into a wall, for example. A drill so it can go through all of the hazards that we should happen to run across. Yep, there we are. And a seat and a brake. Possibly some storage. I believe we can give it an internal storage. And this is basically going to be our dead reckoning. I kind of wanted to make a big train, but it's kind of hard to make those trains, because most of the stuff that Steve Carts uses to have everything running and such requires that it have an engine. And any minecart in Steve's Carts that has an engine moves forward on its own power. Which was a bit of a problem, because it meant that every single minecart that was in the train would keep trying to push forwards. Which was somewhat problematic, because it meant that every single time I tried to use it, every single time I tried to stop, rather, I would have to click onto every single minecart in the train. And that was not exactly ideal. But anyways, we got our own things going. So we're going to start using a 1 minecart. Oh, what am I doing? It's all right here. I've started clicking my tongue a lot more recently. I don't know why that is. Okay, and that gets us some more stabilized metal. So let's see. We're going to need the drill, of which there is a variety. And the Galgadorian drill is the largest one, and it will cut a 5x5 kind of tunnel. But we don't really need that, and you require quite a bit of stuff to get it. It's like we've got Eye of Galgador, which requires gas tears, Eye of Ender, fermented spider eye, all sorts. But what we are mostly going to be looking at is we can get basically every drill is a more or less an upgrade of the previous one. So the basic drill is what will dig out a 3x3, and that is good enough for us. The iron drill is a very small thing. I think that's like basically just too high, and the higher upgrade you get, the further it goes. And ooh, that looks interesting and shiny, but look at that durability. But anyways, we are going to try and make the basic drill, which requires 3 iron and 3 diamonds, which we can quite happily acquire if I reconvert that. Minium. A lot of people said that the minium stone is cheating, effectively. I don't particularly agree with that. Just because it still requires that you have up to 4 times the materials before, and that's still quite a bit, really. So, I don't know, I don't think it's cheating. I know others would disagree. Yep. Fetch some more from there. And use this one. Really trying to balance the different crafting menus I've got here, and that makes us our basic drill. Now, the more things we add to our minecart, the more fuel and time it will take for it to construct. But this is sort of just episode 1 on messing with these, and we're heading up onto the 20 minutes, so we're probably not going to get finished. And there is an attachment. There's an attachment to the cart assembler that we can use to you just said it running on the animation there, to allow us to modify carts at a later date, adding and removing modules. So let's just get like a seat on it, and that will probably be time for us. So there is seat, and it is just logs and a slab, so we can easily get that. And then we can add all the other accoutrements to it that we want next time. And I do not have any of those on that. Huh, that's interesting. But what I'm mostly trying to do with the bees at the moment, by the way, is I'm trying to get a hold of common bees, which are not so common. They're like the first things that you can potentially create in the process of beekeeping and breeding. And we need them more or less to make pretty much every other bee species to some extent. So we shall be using our, well, I'm using all of the different bees that we got before. Is it this one? No, it's this one. Yeah, we're using basically all the different bees that we got before to try and breed some common ones. So I've got a bunch of commons. I had a common princess, but it apparently bred itself out of being common, despite always being bred with a common drone, which was a bit annoying. And let's just quickly hit the day, because that's going to be kind of annoying. A few people must remember Cam in the chat. Yeah, that's my account. That's just the account that I use to get the intro sequences and such. So that's all of the flyover footage, and it's all of the like camera view. Okay, so stick that there, and there's a seat. Hurrah! And there's no options for the seat. Oh, what a shame. It's also appear that we can't really paint this. I think that you can add the colorizer or something like that, which allows you to change the color of the minecart, but I'm not 100% certain on that. And what else can we put together? How about some internal storage? How much does that take? That takes chest panes, which is an 8x8 of... well, that's fairly easy, isn't it? Let's get that together then. We can't unfortunately add all of the chests, because there is quite a few of them. And... no one please. Thank you. Wall of barrels. There is quite a few of them. And you can't install absolutely every upgrade onto your minecart because... how did I make that then? All manner of logs. All... making that inside of shaped crafting. I wonder why that's not working. Let's give that a shot inside of one of the actual main crafting tables. Okay, take you out there. Let's make a new one of you soon. Okay. So... curious. Why can't we make that? Oh wait, because I had it clicked the wrong thing, didn't I? Silly me. That's very strange, it won't let me craft it. Oh, because two of them are logs. I see what's up now. Can't really tell them because they keep shifting around. Thank you. Okay, so if we just take these and swap them out like that. Hey, we got the chest panes. Oh, it hurts. And we also need a chest lock, which is just stone and iron. Fairly straightforward. And that will get us an internal storage. There's also, well, there's a ton of different there's a ton of different chests that you can add to your minecart using Steve's carts. There is internal chest, which we're making. There are side chests, top chests, and front chests. And they basically just add more and more pieces of inventory storage to your minecart. But we only need the one, and we're only going to have room for the one, because we've also got a brake to add, we've already got a drill, we also got an engine to add, and all sorts, and we're kind of pushing the limit on, or at least we will be pushing the limit on exactly how much we can do, and already this is taking 5 minutes and 54 to assemble, and we do not have any fuel in it. You had to put fuel here. It unfortunately doesn't take coal coke, which would be really handy. But we just need to add a few more things. So we need the railer, the bridge layer, and the brake, as well as the engine. But we're coming up on time, so I'll just see what everything requires. And, ooh boy, refined handle, raw handle, 3 iron in a line. Well, we can do that, can't we? Okay, switch. Thank you. That gives us 1 raw handle, which is a bit of a pain, but oh well. And oh god, I am failing at doors today, aren't I? Yes. Come on. And we'll just stick the wood slabs in there, they should be reasonable enough. Because we have no more need of more of them. Because we're going to be using Railcraft almost exclusively for everything else. And these guys are penned in, and here is a wooden golem that's just picking up eggs. So he sticks them into that router, and then the router sticks them down here. And over here I have a straw golem. His job is to locate any nearby fully grown plants, like the wheat or the neverwort, and break them. He's a smart golem too, so he will try and replant them wherever he can. And meanwhile, at the back we have another wood golem, who is set to pick up wheat and neverwort. Because if I need the seeds, I can plant them myself and all sorts, so it's okay. Plus, mostly I have the seeds for permutatio, and that is also available in eggs, which is a Foundcraft aspect. So, kind of handy, pretty handy. I like it. How is our handle doing? Is that finished yet? It has indeed. So, what was the full recipe? We need 2 iron, some redstone, and rose red. Which is a dye that I believe we can also get from transmuting. So, piece of redstone. What was that? 2 iron. Yep, we have 2 iron. And we need a rose red dye, which I have 1 of. I have no idea where it came from, but we have 1 of it. So, that gives us our brake handle, which is an add-on, and it allows us to... Well, the seat allows us to get into the cart. The brake allows us to control it quite a bit more. It goes in here. Yep, there we go. And now we're up to almost 7 minutes. Jeez. But that's all we're going to be doing for today. Next time, we will probably be doing more work again on the Night of the Living Dead build. And after that, we will possibly be doing a community project. We may be going back to this and getting things sorted out. And then I also have some Railcraft stuff to get sorted out. So, I shall wander over to Sampi, suspiciously holding my sword of gouging, which is the upgraded version of my previous sword. Hello, Stampy. Sit. You going to sit? No? You sit when there's people around. I don't know why you don't sit when I'm here. Good boy. Hehe. So, from the top of my elephant, where all of his dogs are escaping now. Oh god, he has so many. Catch you next time, guys.